Welcome to Guns, Guns, Gear, and Guns with Gary Gunderson. I'm Gary Gunderson. Another proposed assault weapon ban was introduced via press conference, so you know they are serious, where the gun-grabbing morons made their case to take away your firearms. They even brought out survivors of gun violence to hide behind for this occasion.
Nothing could be more powerful than what these young people have said and what they have experienced. And I thank them for turning that traumatic experience of their life into the most powerful advocacy possible.
If you thought I wouldn't make fun of them just because they're survivors, well, you haven't seen the channel. People advocating for idiocy deserve criticism.
When you think about, say, the Second Amendment, I urge you to ask yourself, is a piece of paper that was written by slaveholders more important than the kids whose parents didn't even get to recognize them when they were buried?
Yes.
The answer is a resounding no.
Oh shoot, I got that one wrong. Unbearable Kimmy Schmidt here, completely diminishing the Bill of Rights and the Constitution is hilarious because earlier the politicians keep saying, oh no, it's not about the Second Amendment, because they have to pretend to pay lip service to the Constitution.
And for those who hear the false argument that, oh, what about the Second Amendment? This is not about the Second Amendment.
See, your other speaker says it is.
We're hearing AR-15s are uniquely dangerous, uniquely damaging, and uniquely need to be regulated and got off our streets.
2 seconds. The
Second Amendment, the piece of paper that was written by slaveholders.
You clearly want to regulate everything.
And while the Republicans in Congress might try to debate this as a political issue, it's not a political issue.
Banning assault weapons in high-capacity magazines is not political. It's a necessary, life-saving solution to our nation's disgusting and egregious gun violence epidemic.
It's clearly political as it's only being pushed by one side. And AR-15s are not uniquely dangerous. Why, people have been killed by firearms for hundreds of years before it was created.
We can't just blame the actions of an individual.
Yes, we can! Yes, we can!
At FSU, the shooter used a .45 caliber pistol. What's even more frightening is that he had an AR-15 waiting in his car.
Way to immediately bring up a shooting where an assault weapon wasn't used, almost like killers will use whatever tool is at their disposal, almost like AR-15s aren't uniquely dangerous.
AR-15s do not belong in our homes or our schools. High-capacity magazines do not belong in our communities. These are not tools of self-defense.
Speak for yourself, they belong in my home and my community and make a fine platform for self-defense.
All too frequently, these are the weapons of choice, and they are disturbingly easy to access.
Well, I still think they are too hard to access.
It's really hard to explain the power of a modern assault weapon, an AR-15 or an AR-15 variant. Outside that classroom were 300 armed law enforcement guards and officers, cowering, afraid to open the door to that classroom because they feared not that young man, but they feared the single weapon that he had in his hands. One AR-15 up against 300 armed officers, and the AR-15 won that day.
This is a fantastic argument as to why they should be legal. They seem to be good counterpoints to overwhelming tyranny.
That when we pass common sense gun laws that still allow for law-abiding citizens to get their hands on a weapon to protect their home or to shoot for sport.
Unless that sport has scary weapons or until you decide to ban firearms for self-defense as dangerous as well. After all, I hear it was written by slavers.
Just making sure that these weapons designed to kill as many people as quickly as possible are solely in the hands of the military and law enforcement.
Why should the police have something designed to kill a lot of people quickly, but I can't?
Are Republican colleagues more loyal to the gun lobby or to the constituents that elected them to make their communities safer?
Personal firearm ownership makes people safer. In fact, maybe they were elected to prevent tyranny from politicians like you.
Where previous generations had to duck and cover or stop, drop, and roll, this generation knows better than any how to lock the door, turn off the lights, and text their parents without making a sound.
I hope they're still teaching stop, drop, and roll. Is fire no longer dangerous or a concern? Did I miss something? Also, even with an assault weapon ban in place, or even magically erasing them all from the world, someone will still attack a school with a pistol, a knife, or even a hammer. Having a plan to mitigate dangers is not a bad thing.
Is the campaign support from the NRA worth more than the lives of the very constituents that they swore an oath to protect and serve?
They can never understand that gun rights organizations have sway because they are made up of voters who support gun rights. So they are supporting their constituents.
Connecticut had an assault weapon ban. But we all know that guns have no respect for state boundaries. The strongest assault weapon ban by any state is no better than the weakest in another state.
Again, that's actually a very strong argument for not having state-level assault weapon bans. If they clearly don't work, why are you oppressing the citizens of your state needlessly? It is apparently worthless and unnecessary.
In Connecticut, where we have a stronger assault weapon ban, we have Ethan's Law. The combination of these measures has reduced gun violence dramatically. These laws work.
What? Make up your mind. You just said the state laws don't work because other states are less tyrannical. What are you talking about?
But as you pointed out, state laws stop at the state line. And as long as it's easy for someone in California to leave the state and bring back an assault weapon, or somebody from a neighboring state to come to California with an assault weapon, we're still at risk.
Oh my gosh, at least coordinate amongst yourselves and figure out where you stand on this point.
They'll offer thoughts and prayers and then sit back and do nothing. If they do anything, it's they actively block our efforts, like advancing an assault weapons ban and other common sense gun safety legislation.
Yes, because a knee-jerk emotional reaction to a problem is usually the wrong answer, and stopping that nonsense is doing something important.
At one of the town halls, he made the point that if you want an assault weapon, you should do what he did, and that is join the military. They are very efficient for killing people at war.
It's not like you get to keep the weapons issued to you in the military. There's certainly no provision exempting veterans from this ban. So I don't know what you're even talking about, except you think everyone who has an assault weapon wants to go out and murder everyone.
And what has always been so perplexing, galling to me, is that when you ask the actual membership of the NRA, they will tell you they support an assault weapons ban. 60 or 70% of NRA members support an assault weapons ban.
I doubt that. But also, the NRA, for being the big boogeyman, they often have supported gun control measures.
Gun violence will be on the ballot in 2026. Gun violence will be on the ballot in every congressional district across the country.
Well, gun control is on the ballot. Thanks for that reminder. If you have made it to the end of the video, please consider joining my Patreon support videos like this. I have a whole playlist of politicians being morons you can check out on the screen. Let me know what your favorite quote was in the comments below. You can also subscribe to the channel to see future videos and like this one as well to help the channel grow. Thanks for watching.